Look, I need you to understand something before we get into this mess. My name is Klorth, and I have been working as a threat assessment coordinator for the Galactic Council for roughly 473 standard cycles. In all that time, monitoring thousands of species across 612 inhabited systems, I have never, and I mean never, had to create an entirely new threat classification system for a single species, until the humans showed up. The first time I heard the phrase, I was sitting in my monitoring station on the orbital platform above Centauri Prime, sipping what you would probably call space coffee but is actually fermented kelp juice. Do not judge me, it keeps you alert for 18-hour shifts. I was reviewing a routine diplomatic exchange between human representatives and the Carvelian Trade Consortium. Everything seemed normal, boring even. Then Captain Marcus Hall said it. Hold my beer. 3 words. Just 3 simple words in that strange Earth language. But the way he said it, with that particular inflection, that slight smile, made every single one of my sensory appendages stand straight up. The universal translator hiccuped for a moment, clearly confused about context, before settling on a literal interpretation. But I knew, somehow I knew, that something catastrophically entertaining was about to happen. The Carvelians had been bragging, you see. They had just finished telling the humans about their latest engineering achievement, a cargo transport vessel that could carry 5 million metric tons across 3 systems in only 47 days. They were quite proud of it. Their lead negotiator, a pompous individual named Grelnak, had even gone so far as to suggest that perhaps humanity should simply purchase Carvelian ships rather than waste resources developing their own inferior technology. Captain Hall had smiled. That should have been the first warning sign. Humans smiling right before they prove you wrong is apparently a universal constant. That is impressive, Hall had said, nodding thoughtfully. Then he turned to his second officer, a woman named Lieutenant Vera Kowalski, and handed her his beverage. Hold my beer, Vera. Oh no, Vera had muttered, but she was grinning. What are you about to do, Marcus? Just watch, he replied. What happened next would later be referred to in official Galactic Council records as Incident 779-Human-Alpha, but everyone who was there just calls it the day we realized we made a terrible mistake letting them join. Captain Hall proceeded to explain, in excruciating detail, how humanity had already developed not 1, not 2, but 7 different prototype vessels that could carry twice the cargo in half the time. He brought up holographic schematics. He showed test flight data. He even had a live feed prepared showing one of their vessels, the USEV Relentless, currently hauling 11 million metric tons of mining equipment while traveling at speeds that made the Carvelian sensors glitch. Grelnak's face went through approximately 14 different shades of purple. I know because I was recording everything for the official record, and I went back and counted later. But here is the thing that really got me. The thing that made me create an entire new file category in our database, labeled Human Stunts Requiring Immediate Attention. Captain Hall was not done. And you know what? He continued, taking his beer back from Vera and taking a long sip. We built all 7 of those prototypes in the last 8 months. Just for fun. Because your ambassador implied we could not do it at last year's summit. Just for fun. Do you understand what that means? These absolute lunatics built 7 revolutionary starship designs, each one capable of reshaping galactic commerce, because someone vaguely suggested they might not be able to. Not because they needed them, not because there was a strategic advantage, because someone said they probably could not. I immediately flagged the file and sent it up the chain to my supervisor, Quentix. Quentix is a Vortelian, which means he has 3 brains and approximately 0 sense of humor. He looked at my report, looked at me, and clicked his mandibles in what I had learned was his version of a dismissive laugh. You are overreacting, Klorth, he said. So the humans are ambitious and slightly boastful. Many species go through this phase when they first achieve faster-than-light travel. They will settle down. I wanted to argue, but I did not have enough evidence yet. Not concrete, this is definitely a pattern evidence. That changed 3 weeks later. I was monitoring a joint scientific expedition on Helix 9, a planet known for its extreme gravity and hostile environment. 3 species had been trying to establish a research base there for 6 years, with limited success. The gravity was 3.7 times galactic standard, the atmosphere was mostly sulfur compounds, and the local wildlife was both abundant and aggressively carnivorous. The team on site included Zentarians, who are naturally sturdy, Holixians, who can breathe basically anything, and 2 humans, Dr. Alex Okonkwo and his research partner, Dr. Yuki Tanaka. Everything was going smoothly until one of the Zentarian scientists casually mentioned that the canyon network in Sector 7 was likely impossible to explore due to the combination of unstable terrain, acid rain, and the presence of creatures they had dubbed murder lizards, large, fast, and apparently very hungry murder lizards. I was watching the live feed when Dr. Okonkwo looked at Dr. Tanaka and said it, "Hold my beer." Dr. Tanaka actually face-palmed. That is a human gesture I have since learned indicates that someone knows something ridiculous is about to happen but is powerless to stop it. "Alex, we talked about this. I know, he replied, already pulling on an fight environmental suit. "But come on, murder lizards, Yuki, murder lizards. How can I not? Because you are supposed to be a professional xenobiologist, not a adrenaline-addicted maniac." "I can be both," he said cheerfully. To make a very long and heart attack-inducing story somewhat shorter, Dr. Okonkwo proceeded to explore the entire canyon network by himself. While the rest of the team watched in horror, he did encounter the murder lizards, 7 of them in fact. He also managed to tag all 7 for tracking purposes, collect approximately 300 biological samples, map 17 previously unknown cave systems, and discover what turned out to be the fossilized remains of an ancient civilization. When he returned 6 hours later, covered in mud and what I really hope was just mud, the first thing he said was, "So, about those murder lizards. They are actually kind of cute once you get to know them. Also, I think I found Atlantis, but the alien version. Do we have a protocol for that?" The Zentarian expedition leader had to sit down, which Zentarians rarely do because their anatomy makes it uncomfortable. Her second-in-command was holding his breathing apparatus and muttering something about retirement. That was when I realized we had a serious problem. I started pulling data from every human interaction logged in our systems over the past standard year. What I found was terrifying. There were 47 separate incidents of humans saying, "Hold my beer," or variations thereof. And in every single case, what followed was something that ranged from inadvisable to "how are you not dead" to "that violates at least 3 laws of physics and possibly several laws of common sense." There was the time. Human. Engineer Lisa Brennan rebuilt a failing space station reactor using what she described as duct tape, prayer, and spite. It should not have worked. It did work. It is still working. We have scientists studying it, who cannot explain why. There was the incident where human pilot Raj Malhotra won an illegal street race on Torval 6 against professional pilots using ships worth millions of credits. His ship was a cargo hauler he had modified in his garage, with parts he bought at what humans call a yard sale. He said, and I quote, "Hold my beer, I am about to make some people very upset." There was the diplomatic disaster that was not actually a disaster, where human ambassador Patricia Wong negotiated a peace treaty between 2 species that had been at war for 9 generations. Her opening move was to lock all the negotiators in a room and tell them nobody was leaving until they worked it out, because she had tickets to a concert and was not missing it for your nonsense. It worked. They signed the treaty in 4 hours. The previous negotiation had lasted 6 years. I compiled everything into a comprehensive report. 63 pages of documentation, video evidence, and testimony from witnesses across 12 systems. I titled it Urgent Threat Assessment Protocol Update Regarding Human Behavioral Patterns and Predictive Risk Modeling. Quentix read the entire thing, all 3 of his brains working in parallel. When he finished, he looked at me for a long moment. "This cannot be real," he said finally. "Every incident is documented and verified," I replied. "But this would mean that the humans are somehow simultaneously the most reckless and most capable species we have ever encountered. That they actively seek out impossible situations specifically to prove they can overcome them. That would be insane." "Yes," I agreed. "Yes, it would." He stared at the report again. "We need to take this to the High Council." I know. They are going to think we have lost our minds. Probably. Do you have any more of that fermented kelp juice? I will get us both some. The presentation to the High Council was scheduled for 2 weeks later. I spent every available moment preparing, gathering additional evidence, creating predictive models. I wanted to make absolutely certain that when I stood before the most powerful beings in the galaxy and told them we needed to completely revise our threat assessment protocols because of a species that had been members for less than 2 years, I would be taken seriously. The night before the presentation, I received a priority alert. Another incident. Of course. This time it was a human freighter captain named Solomon Wright. His ship had encountered a Dravaxian pirate cruiser in neutral space. The Dravaxians are not just pirates, they are the pirates, ruthless, efficient, and equipped with military-grade weapons. Their cruisers have taken down entire convoys. I pulled up the communication logs, my appendages already tingling with anticipation and dread. This is Captain Wright of the Earthship Wandering Star. The recording began. I seem to have a small situation here. Human vessel, power down your engines and prepare to be boarded, came the Dravaxian response. Resistance will result in destruction. There was a pause. Then Captain Wright laughed. Actually laughed. Well, that is unfortunate, he said. For you, I mean. Crew, lock down the cargo. Passengers, get to the safe rooms. And Jenkins, do me a favor. Yeah, Captain? Hold my beer. What followed was a 7-minute engagement that military analysts are still studying. A single freighter, outmaneuvered, outfought, and ultimately disabled a Dravaxian pirate cruiser, using a combination of unconventional tactics, improvised weapons, and what Captain Wright later described in his report as aggressive negotiation techniques. The Dravaxian captain's final transmission before his ship lost power was simply, "What are you people?" I think about that question a lot now. I added the incident to my presentation file, incident number 48. I had a feeling it would not be the last. The next morning, I stood before the Galactic High Council, the most august body in known space, and prepared to explain why 3 simple words from humanity had made me completely re-evaluate galactic security protocols. Honored council members, I began, we have a problem. And it starts every time a human says, "Hold my beer." The High Council chamber is designed to be intimidating. 78 different species represented, each sitting in specialized environmental pods, arranged in concentric circles rising toward a domed ceiling that displays real-time star maps. The architecture is meant to make you feel small, insignificant, watched from all angles. I have presented here 42 times before. I have never been nervous. Until today. Council Overseer Threndix, a being so old that his species predates faster than light travel by 6,000 years, looked down at me with what might have been curiosity or might have been indigestion. With Threndix, it is genuinely hard to tell. Coordinator Klorth, his voice resonated through every translator in the chamber simultaneously. You have requested emergency session time to discuss a behavioral pattern you have identified in humanity. The species that our own intelligence reports describe as, and I am reading directly here, mostly harmless if slightly enthusiastic. Several council members made sounds that might have been laughter. Honored Overseer, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Those reports are approximately 14 months out of date, and they were wrong even then. That got their attention. Calling official galactic intelligence reports wrong is not something you do lightly. It is career suicide, usually. I activated the holographic display. In the past standard year, I have documented 48 separate incidents of what I am calling the hold my beer phenomenon. Each incident follows the same pattern. A human is presented with a problem, usually one that is considered difficult or impossible by conventional standards. The human then says, "Hold my beer," or a linguistic variant thereof, and then proceeds to solve the problem in a manner that ranges from unconventional to completely insane. Coordinator, interrupted Councillor Vex, a Plutonian who controlled most of the military oversight committees, surely you are not suggesting we convene emergency sessions because humans use colorful language? No, Councillor. I am suggesting we convene because every single time they use this particular phrase, galactic stability shifts in measurable ways. Let me show you. I pulled up the first case file. the cargo ship competition with the Carvelians. This incident resulted in the collapse of Carvelian transport stocks by 37% in just 2 weeks. 6 major shipping companies have since filed for bankruptcy protection. Humans now control 42% of all commercial shipping in 3 adjacent sectors. Muttering spread through the chamber. This incident, I continued, showing the Helix 9 expedition, resulted in the complete remapping of scientific understanding regarding high-gravity world colonization. Dr. Okonkwo's discovery has led to 8 new research stations being established on previously considered uninhabitable worlds. Human-led, of course. More muttering, louder now. And this incident, I showed the Dravaxian pirate encounter, has caused a 17% drop in piracy across 4 sectors because word has spread that human freighters are somehow more dangerous than military escorts. Councillor Vex leaned forward. You are telling me that human freight captains are deterring organized pirate fleets. I am telling you that there is now a bounty among Dravaxian pirates for any captain who can successfully board a human vessel. The bounty has been unclaimed for 6 months. 3 pirate crews have switched to legitimate cargo hauling rather than risk encountering humans. One pirate captain I interviewed said, I quote, "Those people are not right in the head, and I refuse to engage with their nonsense anymore." The chamber erupted. Everyone was talking at once. Threndix raised one ancient appendage and silence fell immediately. Continue, coordinator. I took a breath. This was the part where they would either take me seriously or have me removed from my position and possibly undergo psychological evaluation. Honored Council, based on my analysis, I believe humanity represents a unique form of threat that our existing assessment frameworks are completely inadequate to measure. They are not aggressive in the traditional sense. They are not expansionist, not really. They are not trying to conquer or dominate. Then what are they trying to do? Asked Councillor Marantha, speaking for the first time. She was Zenarian, a species known for their philosophical approach to governance. They are trying to see what happens, I said simply. They encounter a boundary, a limitation, a statement that something cannot be done, and they treat it as a personal challenge. Not because they need to overcome it, not because there is profit or strategic value, but because someone said it could not be done, and they find that unacceptable on a fundamental level. I pulled up my next exhibit. 3 days ago, I received another report. A human named Captain Diana Foster was participating in a joint military exercise. The scenario involved a simulated enemy base protected by shields that, according to our best military scientists, cannot be penetrated without overwhelming force. The exercise was designed to teach tactical retreat and strategic regrouping. Let me guess, Vex said dryly. She said, "Hold my beer," she said, and this is a direct quote, "Hold my beer and watch this." Then she proceeded to penetrate the shields using a technique that our military scientists are still trying to understand. Something about redirecting harmonic frequencies and what she called aggressive improvisation. The base commander had to end the simulation because she had completely broken the scenario. She later apologized for ruining the exercise, but mentioned that she thought the shields were supposed to be a challenge, not just set dressing. Threndix made a sound like grinding stone. She broke our military training simulation because she thought it was too easy? Yes, Honored Overseer. And then she submitted a 20-page report detailing 17 ways the shield design could be improved to prevent similar penetration techniques. The Military Science Division is currently implementing 12 of her suggestions. The silence in the chamber was deafening. There is more, I continued. 2 weeks ago, human medical researcher Dr. James Park was attending a symposium on Valkyrian syndrome, a disease that has plagued the Valkyrian people for 3,000 years. It is considered incurable. The best minds in medicine across 40 species have tried and failed to develop a treatment. Please do not tell me, Councillor Marantha said softly. Dr. Park said, "Hold my beer." He went back to his laboratory. 72 hours later, he emerged with a treatment protocol that is currently in final testing phases and shows a 93% success rate in early trials. "That is impossible," someone shouted from the upper tiers. "That is what we keep saying," I replied, "and they keep proving us wrong. Do you want to know what Dr. Park said when asked how he succeeded where everyone else failed? He said he approached it differently because he did not know it was supposed to be impossible. He just thought it was a difficult puzzle. I could see the realization spreading through the council. This was not about individual incidents anymore. This was about a fundamental difference in how humanity approached reality itself. Honored Council, I said, I am not suggesting that humans are a military threat, although their military capabilities are frankly terrifying when you analyze them closely. I am suggesting that they are a chaos factor we have never encountered before. They do not operate within expected parameters. Every time we think we understand their limitations, they casually exceed them while claiming it was no big deal. Councillor Vex spoke up. What are you proposing, Coordinator? I am proposing a new threat classification system, not because humans are hostile, but because they are unpredictable in ways that can destabilize entire sectors without them even intending to. I propose that any time human involvement in a project or situation is detected, we automatically elevate our monitoring and readiness status. You want to create a threat level based on a species saying, "Hold my beer," Vex said flatly. Yes, Councillor. Because in the past year, that phrase has preceded the collapse of major corporations, the rewriting of scientific understanding in multiple fields, the disruption of criminal enterprises, the development of new technologies, and approximately 16 incidents that our analysts have classified as that should not have worked. But it did, and we do not know why. Threndix was silent for a long moment. This is unprecedented. So are humans, Honored Overseer. What would you call this new threat level? I had thought about this carefully. I would call it Code Beer. Activation protocols would include increased surveillance, rapid response teams on standby, and immediate notification to all relevant sector authorities. Not to stop the humans, we have established that is essentially impossible once they have decided to do something. But to manage the aftermath and help other species adapt to whatever new reality the humans have just created. The debate that followed lasted 6 hours. Species accused me of being paranoid. Others accused me of not being paranoid enough. Military representatives wanted to know if humans posed a conquest threat. Economic representatives wanted to know how to protect markets from human disruption. Scientific representatives wanted to know if they could hire humans to solve their impossible problems. Finally, Threndix called for a vote. Code Beer passed with 61 votes in favor, 12 against, and 5 abstentions. I had done it. I had convinced the Galactic High Council to create an entirely new threat classification system based on a drinking-related colloquialism from a species that had been members for less than 2 years. The champagne celebration I was imagining lasted approximately 4 minutes. That was when my emergency alert system went off. Priority Alpha. The highest possible classification. Something that required immediate council attention. I pulled up the alert with a sense of dread that was becoming increasingly familiar. It was from the human embassy on the council homeworld. The message was simple and terrifying in its brevity. This is Ambassador Patricia Wong. We have a situation. The humans back on Earth just announced a new space exploration initiative. They are calling it Project Andromeda. They plan to send a crewed mission to the Andromeda Galaxy. Launch date is in 6 months. I know what you are all thinking, and yes, they are serious. One of their engineers literally said, "Hold my beer," when someone suggested it could not be done. Thought you should know. Sorry in advance. The Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light-years away. The chamber exploded into chaos. Species were shouting, environmental pods were flashing with alarm signals, and somewhere in the upper tiers, I was pretty sure someone fainted. Threndix looked at me. Coordinator Klorth. Yes, Honored Overseer. Activate Code Beer. Yes, Honored Overseer. And Klorth? Yes. Get me all the fermented kelp juice you can find. I have a feeling we are going to need it. I activated the galaxy-wide alert system. For the first time in Galactic Council history, the following message was broadcast to every member species, every monitoring station, every diplomatic outpost, and every military installation across known space. Attention all stations. This is a Code Beer alert. Repeat. Code Beer alert. Humanity has initiated Project Andromeda. Threat level maximum. All personnel maintain elevated readiness status. This is not a drill. May whatever deities you worship have mercy on us all. 3 months later, I received a message from Captain Marcus Hall, the same captain who had started this entire cascade of events with his cargo ship competition. "Hey, Klorth," the message began, and I could hear the smile in his voice. Heard you guys created a whole threat level because of us. That is honestly hilarious and kind of flattering. Listen, I wanted to give you a heads up. We are having a party next week to celebrate the first successful test of the Andromeda drive system. You should come. Bring that kelp juice you are always drinking. And hey, between you and me, there was a pause, and I knew what was coming. Hold my beer, you have not seen anything yet. I looked at the message for a long time. Then I forwarded it to Threndix with a single sentence attached. We are going to need a code beer plus. He approved it in under a minute. Somewhere on Earth, approximately 14,000 human engineers, scientists, pilots, and general chaos enthusiasts were preparing to punch a hole through space-time itself and travel to another galaxy just because someone had suggested it was impossible. And I was sitting in my monitoring station, drinking fermented kelp juice at 9 in the morning, watching humanity rewrite the rules of reality one beer holder at a time. You know what the really terrifying part is? I have started to like them. These absolutely unhinged, brilliant, reckless, wonderful disasters who treat the laws of physics like suggestions and the word impossible like a challenge. The galaxy will never be the same. And honestly, I think that might be a good thing. But I am definitely keeping Code Beer active. Just in case. Actually, who am I kidding? Not just in case. Because there absolutely will be a next time. There is always a next time with humans. I just hope I have enough kelp juice to handle it.